He lives in Herman, he's a dentist, and one of his hobbies is photography, and is the music with these, and just anything having to do with that, and I have no idea. I hope he doesn't tell that story about me or show picture. And Sam is Robby's grandson, and he's a budding artist. And will you tell us about some of your pictures? Okay. I should have said that as well as Sam, we have Robby's daughter Sarah.
My daughter Sarah is also a budding photographer, and she's running the video. Sam's mother threatened me if I did not photograph this, his second public appearance, talking about his birds. I'm so thankful for the opportunity to come and share with you one of my passions, which is bird watching, and I also have some butterfly slides. I've also done a lot of the background music for these, and I spend a lot of time and money doing it, but I excuse myself for doing it. I tell my wife it keeps me out of the bar rooms and the honky tonks, and so she lets me do this. My sister Betty and my sister Sue are here. I'm very thankful I have my two middle sisters. My older sister Mary Carpenter Schreiner, many of you know, she lives in Longview, and my little sister Carol Hoffman lives in Mason. I wish they could also have been here tonight. As I was talking on the telephone with Betty about this program, I came up with this verse that Mother had written on a scrap of paper years ago. If any of you knew my mother, she was always writing poetry. We would find little scraps of paper here, there, and yonder, and she was always working on one. This is one by Longfellow, and she had just one verse. It stuck with me for a long time, and finally when the internet came along, I found out what it was from and who wrote it. It's a poem by Longfellow, 50th birthday of Agassiz, if that's how you say that. And there's just two verses from it I'd like to read. And nature, the old nurse, took the child upon her knee, saying, here's a storybook thy father has written for thee. Come, wander with me, she said, in regions yet untrod, and read what is still unread in the manuscripts of God. Isn't that good? It reminds me of Psalm 19. The heavens declare the glory of God. The firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech. There is no language where their line is not gone out. And so as we look at the beauty of nature, I cannot help but seeing the hand of a creator. A creation without a creator is an enigma bigger than I can handle. I don't have enough faith to believe that. So as we look at these beautiful creations, I'd like to start with a video of some of the butterflies that I've taken. There's a little music with this. Let's see if we have the volume set about right. A little narration. These are the snout butterflies that actually swarm sometimes. You see hundreds of thousands of them swarming occasionally in the South Texas area. I was on a missionary trip to Mexico about 20 years ago, and we encountered a swarm as we were in a small airplane over Kerrville. The swarm went all the way down into Mexico. There must have been billions of them. This is, of course, the monarch butterfly on verbena, the hackberry butterfly. This is a little skipper. A skipper's not a butterfly, and it's not a moth. It's kind of halfway in between. They fly like a bullet. They're hard to get close enough to take a picture, but occasionally you can sneak up on one. The sphinx moth on the left, I actually cheated. I placed it on those pear blooms. During the daytime, they're very sedentary. They don't move much, and you can just pick them up and put them where you want them. At night, they fly. They look like a hummingbird. This is a Cecropia moth somebody brought to my dental office. It's nice to be known for loving these things because everybody brings you everything odd that comes along. This is the buckeye butterfly. It's the one that has that spiny little caterpillar on oak trees that stings like crazy. It's very irritating. If you get it on you, it will cause quite a rash. This is the mourning cloak. put some scriptures on these, and I play these at the office. I try to make the dental office as peaceful as possible, which for some people is possible, and for some people it's not. This is the Gulf Ridley area. At one time declared an endangered species by somebody who was totally out of contact with reality. There's millions of them in Texas. If you see a big black swallowtail in Texas, South Texas, it's probably that one, the pipeline swallowtail. 80% of the big black butterflies you see will be the pipeline swallowtail. This is the Gulf Ridley area again. Those silver patches on the underwing are as shiny as a real silver coin. This is the little pygmy blue, one of the smallest butterflies in the world. Here in Texas, it's about the size of a dime when you spread its wings out. And the red admiral. Polyphemus moth. Once again, a night flyer. This one was cold, he's trembling. I fortunately found him when he was so cold he couldn't fly. So I got some good pictures. That eye spot's just absolutely beautiful. And this is a funny little moth. It's called a purple buck moth. It's only found in the Kerrville area. And people come from all over the world to see the moth collectors will come from all over the world to see that moth. I had one in my office that I had found. Unfortunately, it was in bad condition when I found it, but it was so rare, I mounted it anyway. And when I got through mounting it, it didn't have any antenna. So I stole some antenna off of another moth. Because it didn't look right without it. And this expert in the order, the class Hemaleuchia, came to my office, and he called me before and asked me if I had one, and he was all excited, and he wanted to come see it. And so he came to the dental office and walked up to the display that had that one in it, and he said, oh yes, that's it, it's, the antenna are all wrong. I didn't know what the antenna were supposed to look like, because when I found that specimen, it didn't have any. So I thought I was guessing pretty close, but I sure didn't fool him. And it has a horrible name. It's Hemaleuchia grotii. Imagine being named grotii. Anyway, that's the Kerrville buck moth. Now, about a year ago, I was coming over. One of my favorite places in all the world to take pictures of birds is out at the South Llano River State Park. I hope you have been there. If you haven't, they have some wonderful bird blinds. You can go sit in those. It's especially nice in the spring and the fall when it's cool. They feed them. They've fed them for 20 years, so there's lots of birds coming through. And they're very easy to observe from those bird blinds. And so a lot of the videos you'll see tonight and still pictures were taken there. And as I was going out there about a year ago, I thought, well, I wonder if Sam would like to go take some pictures of birds with you. What, 2 years? Is it 2 years?
Time flies.
Correct. So I thought, Sam, would you like to go with me? He said, sure, Grandpa, I'll come. And I thought, well, while I'm taking video pictures, I wonder if he could manage my still camera. I had a nice still camera with a telephoto lens, so I gave it to him and gave him a few instructions. And we hadn't been there very long until he managed to get a good picture, and it was all over. Sam graduated into the Ornithological Society. I've been a bird watcher ever since, and excited about those pictures. There's a little bird he'll show you a picture of called a vermilion flycatcher, and we were walking up to a place out there where I had seen one. This little bird is so bright red, he almost looks like he's going to burst into flames when the sun hits him. And I said, Sam, there was a vermilion flycatcher right here last time I was here, and I was describing it to him, and all of a sudden Sam said, there he is, Grandpa! And he went running around with his camera, and he got some good pictures of him. And the vermilion flycatcher, I think, is one of the things that really got Sam excited about birds. Sam, come on up, and we're going to put some of his slides on. Sam just had a real fun time with a bunch of boys roughhousing, so he's one arm isn't working quite as well. Sam, talk to him about birds while I'm getting their slides set up.
Ain't baby can't hear you.
What really got me into birds is that I enjoy the beauty of them, and they're pretty. Like vermilion flycatcher.
Okay,
Here's some slides. Here's some slides here of my pictures that I've taken. That is an indigo bunting. That's a painted bunting. Cedar waxwing. This is at my old house, and every day they come and eat the little they come and eat the little china berries off of my tree. This is a little house sparrow, black-chinned hummingbird. I was at Mo Ranch. Cardinal,
Big bows.
tufted titmouse, black-crested, female cardinal. This is one of my favorite woodpeckers. This is a golden-fronted woodpecker, and he visits every now and then. Blue jay, house finch, western kingbird. This was at the park, Inca dove. Barn swallow. This was at the Lano State Park. It's a female painted bunting. That's a pine siskin and a female cardinal mating. Female painted bunting. Black chin, black throated sparrow. This is a lark sparrow. Bell's vireo. That was the first time that I ever saw one. This was in Atlanta.
It's a tufted titmouse black-crested bird.
Painted bunting. That is a yellow-throated vireo. That was a good shot that I got of him. He was so fast. He was like a warbler. Indigo bunting. Summer tanager. I don't really know this one. This might be a. That might be a. Might be a orchard Oreo female. Lesser goldfinch. Female painted bunting. Summer tanager. I was at the Lano State Park. Lesser goldfinch. Orchard Oreo. House finch. Black and white warbler. Painted bunting. Cardinal. That's the vermilion flycatcher. That was the Lano State Park. There's an eastern phoebe. These are at his house, and they have babies, like, they have little babies, this little nest in their garage every year. I don't know. My dad took this. This is a Dick Siskel. That was a Dick Siskel. He took it at his sawmill. Some kind of sparrow. Barn swallow. Painted bunting. Video. That was at the Leno State Park. There's a summer tanager. There's a Bell's Video. Black chin hummingbird. That's a yellow-breasted Chad trying to get his, a mate. He has a little cage head in his mouth. He might be saying, hey, I'm good catcher. Summer tanager. Remember the flycatcher? He's on fire now. This little Cockatiel mouse. That's a lesser goldfinch. Archer oriole. Yellow-breasted chat. Black-crested titmouse. Little cardinal. This is one of the best pictures I've ever took of a bird. It's one of the best pictures I've ever took of a bird. That's at my house. That's a female ladderback woodpecker. And the male. They were both mates. There's a red-shouldered hawk. There's a black-chinned hummingbird. There's another black-chinned hummingbird. The eastern phoebe. It's a lark sparrow. How do you tell a black-capped chickadee from a Carolina chickadee?
Sound, you're supposed to be able to tell by the look, but I can't, can you?
It's by their song.
By the song's the only way I could tell.
The black-capped chickadee has 3 notes. The black-capped chickadee has 4 notes. And the Carolina has 2 notes. And the hybrid has 3.
And the reason there is a hybrid is because the black-capped chickadee cannot tell the Carolina chickadee.
There's a house sparrow. Bronze copper. That was at the Fort Worth Zoo. Zoo again. That's the peregrine or prairie falcon. And that's my sister with a little budget picture. I can't pronounce it. And that's me at the zoo, Fort Worth Zoo. Kind of embarrassing. There's Sophie. That's my bird. You'll see her in a minute. That is great egrets at the Junction sewer plant. That's the eastern meadowlark and female. There's Sam. I do not know what those are. Those are little Inca doves. They're bunched together. Painted bunting, and that's a female cardinal. Sophie. That's the yellow-breasted chat again. Scissor-tailed flycatcher. That's a blue heron. That is a black-chinned hummingbird. This is one of my favorite pictures too, a yellow-crowned night heron. That was at Camp Rio Vista in Kerrville. There's a summit tanager. Female summit tanager. Black-throated sparrow, yellow-breasted chat. One of the best pictures I took. That is a first-year male blackbird. That was at the wastewater plant. This is a black-capped vireo. That was at the Lano River.
Do you have any questions you'd like to ask Sam now? He's my expert.
You don't have your camera with you, do you, Sam? It's a chore, he's gonna have muscles from carrying that camera.
It's not very heavy.
Oh, you don't?
What is special, this last bird you showed us was the black-capped vireo. What's special about it?
It is very rare because it has been, has forest destruction from people tearing down their homes and it's an endangered species. And
Where'd you get that picture, Sam?
the Lano River State Park.
At the book park here.
Questions?
What about the bird you brought with you? Is that your pet?
Oh yeah, that's Sophie. And we need to close the doors because I'm getting her
All
out.
right, he won't get her out unless we close the doors.
Have you lost her before, Sam?
No, when we get her wings clipped, she can go outside with me. She doesn't have her wings clipped. You see
Cockatiel, not a cockatiel.
She can whistle. Can you whistle? She whistled a lot today. Can you whistle? Come on, you can do it. She doesn't want to now. Come here. Come here.
Oh, boy. How long have you had her?
I got her in the summertime from this guy named David. He's like an expert on birds. He has a bunch of parrots and stuff.
Do they live a long time?
Cockatiels live about 20 years.
Take you to college with you?
Sam, how old is he?
She's about 3 months old. I don't know. We got her in June, so June 1.
Does she fly around the house like this?
I had her about 5 months. Yeah, she probably.
She likes this. The ceilings are not this high at her head.
She does fly around the house.
And she's been cooped up for a couple of hours.
Well, I'll tell you something. The males, they have yellow on their wings. And they have yellow stripe down their flight feathers. She has little yellow spots on there, so the males have yellow all over their head. She has a little yellow on the back of her head. They also have like rosy little cheeks.
Does she get car sick?
He's doing this on purpose. He's upstaging me.
Because he's been in the car for an hour.
Well, thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Sam.
Live on a nice creek. And in Junction during the 50s know that you don't complain about rain.
Never.
And so I promised God back in the 50s, if he would ever let it rain again, I would never complain. And so I dutifully thanked him for the wonderful rain he was sending, and looked out of the bedroom window where Sam's father was raised to this creek in my backyard, and all of these birds were right out there in the rain. And it turned out to be one of my favorite days of taking pictures. Have you ever seen a bird wash its armpit? This is a ringneck duck. I don't know why they call it a ringneck. You can hardly, the ring is a very subtle, violet colored ring around its neck. Difficult to see. I think it should be called a ringbill. These are dadwalls.
What's the music background?
The music background, I usually do my own music, but this is actually buy-out music. It's a piece I purchased for this. This is a mallard, and as you can see, the rain is running off of it like water off of a duck's back.
What creek is that?
That's Camp Meeting Creek.
Where is that?
In Kerrville, if you go from Highway 10 straight through Kerrville, all the way clear across the Guadalupe River, about 2 miles on the right. River Hills is on the left. It runs through River Hills. The poor folks live on the other side of the creek. That's where I live. But it's all Camp Meeting Creek. It's dammed up. There's about a 20 acre foot creek dam behind us. And so we get a lot of really nice water birds. This one that just came into the picture is an American widgeon, female. The male has a shiny green head similar to mallard. Chipping sparrow. Is that right? Those of you, anybody who knows sparrows? And that is a very, very wet American goldfinch. They have a completely different personality when it rains. No white-winged dove. They're really pretty when you can see them up close. Look at that blue makeup it put on for me around the time. Another wet goldfinch. Sam said that's a bad feather day. He keeps upstaging me. It won't be long till it'll be the other way around. Isn't that pretty? Beautiful little bird. That verse that I will lay me down and sleep in peace. I quote that one frequently when I'm having a hard time sleeping. Psalm 4. This is another similar situation. Drove to work one morning about 2 years ago. It was snowing. Canceled all my patients out and went home and took pictures of the birds. It wasn't hard to cancel the patients out. Most of them had already called in. So here's some interesting birds. That first one was a myrtle warbler, or a yellow-rumped warbler. There's a little argument about how those should be classified. There's one in the west that's called Audubon's warbler, and they've actually separated those into 2 different species now. Another goldfinch, American. During the winter, it's a little bit hard for me to tell the American goldfinches from the female lesser goldfinches. And field sparrow. This is a suet feeder. Birds don't come to my seed feeder very well, but this day when it snowed, they covered it up. And I had two birds I had never seen before. Here's your lesser goldfinch. One of them was that myrtle warbler. It's never been back. I've lived in that house 40 years and I've never seen a myrtle warbler except that day. And in a minute we'll come to the other bird. Here are your mallards, the most common duck, I think, in America. Everybody can recognize a mallard. They're dabbling ducks. They turn their tail up, but they float so well they can't go under. As opposed to these ringnecks, they're diving ducks. And I throw corn out in the creek and the ducks dive down and get the corn. And they've come back. Several of these ducks recognize me now when they come back in the fall for their migration, especially the widgeons. They know me. They'll swim right up to me. And it took me a year to get them tame enough to do that. Golden-fronted woodpecker, this is a male. You can see the little red spot. Now here's the other unusual bird, it was unusual to me, that I had never seen before. It's called a ruby-crowned kinglet. If you look right on top of his head is a little red streak.
Have you ever seen them irritated when they race up over
Well,
there?
if the ruby-crowned kinglet gets irritated or excited, if he sees his girlfriend, he can lift them.
Yeah.
I've never seen that happen. I've read about it.
I saw one.
Isn't he a pretty little thing? The only problem with him is if he's over 50 yards away, he's just an LBJ. A ground job. It just looks like a sparrow. But to my knowledge, that's the only time that bird's ever been in my house. And I watch pretty carefully. I've never seen him except for this day that it snowed. The birds are sure pretty in the snow. That beautiful red cardinal male, and here's the female. So thankful that England thought enough of us to send us some sparrows over here. The English sparrow has taken over. Chipping sparrows. This is one of my songs in the background. It's best played like this at a very low volume where you can't hear it very well. That's the synthesizer. Look at the back of this bird's head. I think that's a close encounter of the wrong kind with a predator, a raptor bird maybe. Female ringneck and the male. So you got to see the rainbirds and the snowbirds of Kerrville. I won't bore you any longer with these. If you do have some questions about birds, I'd be happy to field those questions and turn them over to Sam so you can
Cardinals, do they molt in the summer? Or they kind of lose their little top knots?
They can. And speaking of cardinals molting, I have a family of cardinals at my office that are bald-headed.
Yeah.
I mean, really, one of them totally bald from the neck up, and their skin is black.
Yes.
I used to think bald was beautiful.
It's
That's the ugliest bird I've ever seen. It looks like a cardinal vulture cross. But it's a genetic thing there. A lot of the cardinals at my office have partial baldness. So molting, your question about molting, I think most birds do, some very dramatically and some not so dramatically. For instance, when the American goldfinches come in, they've already lost their breeding plumage, so they're just a drab yellow. But about the time they leave in the spring, the male develops this wonderful breeding plumage, this gorgeous, buttery, gold, yellow breast and all the way up over his head. But they usually fly north before that happens, except for last year, this spring. And this spring, for some reason, they stayed well after that plumage changed. So I don't know if that's unusual. Is that normal for them to stay here that long?
Sometimes, but I noticed the same thing. That
That's the first ones that I had ever seen really were in that special summer spring plumage. And they stayed around for about 2 weeks.
I had a bunch of them.
We also had a treat this year. We had 7 pair of painted bunnings and about that many pair of indigo bunnings showed up at my house. I've lived there 40 years. I promise you that's the first and last time I've ever seen bunnings at my house.
I need to offer Sam to come to the ranch. I have 2 different kinds of painted buntings and have had for about 10 years. One family has goldbacks rather than the chartreuse.
Wow, I would love to see that.
They're welcome to come.
I would love to. Should I bring my chauffeur with me?
Oh,
A goldback.
yes.
Well, there are these variations in birds that are most interesting.
And they keep coming every year.
I had a sparrow in my office about 15 or 20 years ago, and it was marked exactly like a bald eagle. It had a white head and a white tail. It was spectacular. I did get some pictures of it. Bald sparrow. Back then, I didn't know any birders and wasn't really all that interested in birds either at that time. And I did, I believe that's right when the internet was coming on, and I did find a person on the internet that knew a lot about birds, sent him the picture, and he said, oh, that's just albino gene. He said, look, and you'll probably see that all of the birds, a lot of birds in that flock have at least 1 or 2 white feathers. He was right. And that flock is still there. They still have a lot of white feathers in it. Any other questions? Who do you have?
Well, I stand up and say thank you, I think.
One thing I forgot. I don't know if you'd be interested in this or not, but I was speaking of God's creation. And about 2 Sundays ago, I had the privilege of speaking at Southern Oaks Baptist Church in Kerrville, and they asked me to speak about creation versus evolution. That's something I've spent a lot of time studying. And so I made some DVDs of it. If you'd like to have one, there's enough here for about half of you to have one. And then if you would pass it on to someone else, don't worry about trying to get it back to me. But if you'd like to have one of the DVDs, you're certainly welcome to it. Just grab them off of the table up here.
Oh, David, not David, Sam. The club appreciated you so much that they sent a check to your school for them. Can you use it in your biology or your science lab, you think, for something y'all need?
Yes, definitely.
Or sodas all around when the dish. I sure appreciate it.
His father will be very excited. They're just starting that school and they need a lot of science equipment. So thank you.
That's the Covenant School, they call it, but it's
Impact Church.
Church.
Covenant.
And is the school across town?
Yes, it's out on Harbor Road. It's the
Okay.
old
I didn't know where it was.
Assembly of God camp.
Well, thank you, Aunt Betty.
Well, Ronnie, I want to thank you too, I really do. This is one of the best programs I think we've ever had. And Betty, I can't imagine, God moves in mysterious ways. This couldn't have been more appropriate for Betty Lee's memorial meeting. And thank you so much for asking your nephew. And
Do you want us to help you load them stuff?
Oh, no, I pack it all in somewhere. You go right ahead with you go into your business meeting now.
yes.
You go right ahead. If you will excuse me for packing while you're doing it.
We're glad all of you came to be with us. This program
That was wonderful.
It's something.
Wonderful program.
Share.
Oh, it was so good.
Well, there's a talent, you know.
And what's his bird's name?
Sophie.
Sophie.
His name is Sophie. Sam's only 10.
He's amazing.
Yeah, I'm gonna back this off so that it'll get. Oh, she landed on someone's head, the bird.
Oh, no, it'll fly out. How are your eyes doing? Good.
If we could have